Status update. For one thing, it's beautiful out right now. Absolutely gorgeous. I mean, you can't beat this. Second thing, it's been an hour. As you can see, it's getting dark. My dumb A was trying to be fast, like I said, dropped the exhaust manifold to turbo gasket into my bilge, under my engine. Can't get it out. What's up, crew? Welcome back to Boat Revival by Ben. On today's video, we are back on my 2000 Pursuit 3400 for that much needed maintenance that I've been talking about for a while and putting off, and it's finally the day. We are removing the aftercoolers and heat exchangers and cleaning everything, because guess what? My boat will no longer build boost, and that's a problem. So here we go. We're on the old-fashioned, hopping in the engine bay, working on a couple Volvo TAMD 63 diesels. Here we go. All right, we're in the engine bay, and first things first is, let me sit on my generator conveniently here. This is L aftercooler, and L aftercooler on this engine particularly, I'm guessing based on a lot of your feedback and the internet's feedback, is fairly chocked full. With what? I'm not sure, but what the internet and what you guys are telling me is that these things can get clogged after a while, and it will limit your engine's ability to build boost and get on plane. Well, right now I can get to 1500 RPMs, and then this engine has to basically push the boat, relieve load from this one for this one to actually build boost. Not good. It's only been doing that for a little while here, but it got really bad recently. So it is now finally time to pull this heat exchanger off. So we'll show that real quick, and then to pull this aftercooler off, and we'll show that real quick, and then we can get to our heat exchanger, which is right over here, but we can't get this one off until this one's off. We're sending Harry down in the hole now. This one is loose, but the coolant reservoir tank slash heat exchanger needs to come off first, and we're gonna grab a shop vac and suck all that coolant out of there before we go spilling it all in the bilge. That would be bad. So now we'll get this engine unnutted. It was actually pretty simple. A bunch of 12 and 13 millimeter nuts and bolts. This one was pretty much just mounted straight across.
No rhyme nor reason behind what's 12 and what's 13.
Yeah, that was actually weird. We thought it was
14.
Different sizes because of paint. And also, the paint has never been chipped on these. So either somebody repainted it at some point, or these have never been cleaned before, which would be absolutely shocking. So anyway, we'll definitely repaint when we are done, because in the process of prying these off, we're chipping the beautiful paint. When I say beautiful paint, it's not that beautiful.
Everything on a Volvo is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bolts are coming off surprisingly easily, though.
Yeah, I mean, just break them loose and then everything just goes finger tight, like so.
And there's one stud, which is very interesting, but that's where the old air intake box, filter box sat, which I had since removed, but that's all out now. Where'd you put all the hardware?
It's in the lid of my 1/4" socket set.
Aha! Yeah, here's the stud. Anyway, a couple long boys holding that exchanger in. But this is probably pretty typical for a Volvo TAMD 63, 73. They make 40 somethings, I think, as well. Anyway, these are modular engines, so the cylinder heads and valve covers break in half at the 3-cylinder mark. So there are 3 cylinders out there. There's 6 cylinders. There's bigger bores, bigger strokes.
Bigger strokes for bigger folks.
And we've mentioned it before, but TAMD stands for Turbocharged Aftercooled Marine Diesels. Yeah, Volvo, they don't beat around the bush when it comes to their acronyms.
Shout out to all my BQ30F fans out there.
Now I do have to put in the shameless plug. The Pursuit is for sale. I just put it on Facebook the other day, and we'll put up an official listing here in the near future. But it's time to move on from this boat. We're changing the direction that we're going with boating, going into the speedboat era. Boats that I can move around on their trailers, pull behind my truck, and fit inside a shop easily. And as you can probably tell, this boat does not go into a shop very easily, and also requires very heavy machinery to haul in and out of the water. So it just sits in the water pretty much year round, unless it needs some major maintenance. So anyway, I love this boat, but it is time to move on. So if you guys are interested, shoot me an email, ben@boatrestorationbyben.com. I'll be sure to get back with you, and happy to share anything and everything about this boat. It is very well documented on the internet. Lots of videos when we redid this whole hull, recored it, put Coosa around all the through hull fittings, repainted the boat, you name it. So this is kind of that last leg of maintenance before I feel comfortable handing the boat off to its future owner.
You have not tight at all. I saw this utter bitch that I can't stand at the lunch place today.
Hang on, we gotta get content here.
No.
Removing the stud.
Moving the stud. Hey, you're a stud.
Oh, thank you.
I'm talking to the viewer.
I know, they are.
Yeah.
They are. Oh, the rubber boy we don't need anymore.
Don't need the rubber boy anymore. And now, short of some hoses, this guy is all wiggling around.
And no, I didn't make Harry take the tough one. We were just, I mean, maybe I did. Subliminally.
Deep down, inside.
We just wanted to learn from this side first before attacking this side. But either way, we got to come back with a shop vac.
I wouldn't say this is the tough one. I feel very casual right now.
No, it's...
I'm like Larry King right now, you know. Like,
it's not terrible. Listen, there's 2.5 feet between here and this step. And once you physically get down in the engine bay, I mean, you guys have seen me working down here before. The battery placement is hateful, but everything else is fairly thought out and serviceable in the engine bay. I mean, they packed a ton of stuff down here.
There we go. You like that? ASMR? Just listen.
That's real nice.
Oh. There we go. I like how easily all these hoses are just popping off, too.
I know. Yeah, just don't lose the hose clamps down below.
Not losing the hose clamps.
The old girl. I mean... Oh. I am being fully transparent with any buyers. I mean, this boat, it's a 25-year-old boat, one. It's had a lot of good maintenance and work done to it. It's beautiful, at least in my eyes. You know, the orange boot stripe definitely isn't a fan favorite, but you know, the gray people really like. Here, let me get the sun side. so you guys can see it. And I'm just saying that because you can repaint this. Just tape the boot line off when you haul it out for service and change the boot line color if you really want to. Bottom paint was just redone last year too, so scuff it and throw another coat on, you'll be fine. Anode replacement, good to go. Fortunately, she's been sitting for a little while. Haven't had time to use her. But really is a great boat. I want something faster. I want to go back to big blocks that make awesome noises. Stern drive life. I'm going to miss the tower immensely. But I didn't fish, so there was no reason to have all these rod holders. I mean, let's just face it, selfishly, I just want go fast speedboats again. And just think about how cool having 3 go fast boats for the price of this one Pursuit. I mean, in my mind, that's simple boat math, right, Harry? Right. The boat math does add up. Kinda. Let me know in the comments too. Are you gonna miss the Pursuit, or are you looking forward to the speedboat projects to come? I mean, I know what I'm looking forward to. I'm still gonna miss this boat, but I think the go fast, flashy speedboats are gonna be pretty awesome. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. I did just wash this whole thing the other day. It was like turning black. Look, some of my smudge is left over. But hatches, hardtop, windshield, all very nice. I'm currently having new plexiglass made for these corner because they were acrylic and they were all spidering. So those will be fresh and new. Isinglass is like a 6 out of 10, I would say, but still functional. And let's see, there's one soft spot up here around this tower mount, and it's about this, well, it stops hard right here because that's glass, but it's like right here. So someone had a wild hair to pop that off. I mean, it's balsa coring that's wet, but again, it stops right here. This part is wet, but that's the only one. The rest of them are okay, but they could be fully rebedded and sealed. I might do that for you if I'm feeling generous. Hardtop solid too. One thing that is a bummer on these old Pursuits and Tiaras is the decks are solid, but the hatches and these little inserts in the back here, like where the rod holders are, they love to rot out because, again, it's balsa coring, and people put these aftermarket rod holders in them, and then they fail and they rot. So someone will need to either have these pieces, this is just a screw in and caulked panel. Look, this is one piece right here. Either cut the backside, put Coosa, and mount the rod holders in them, or you can have them completely recored. So again, I just show you that because not a huge project, it's not structural, but it is something that could be done to improve the overall quality. Here's the other piece on this side. Again, this one's solid, just fine, but this one is rotted out, so this needs to be pulled out. And then a new piece of Coosa or something like that around the rotten balsa coring in that section. Same thing with the hatches. The hatches love to rot out at the piano hinge back here. This one is actually okay, but you know, this one is somewhat okay too, but again, they like to rot out at the piano hinge. So you could redo the coring on those hatches. The deck is absolutely fine. The hatches are a bit of a bummer. Are we at a stopping point?
We are at a stopping point.
All right, we need a shop vac. We'll come back once the coolant has been evacuated from the reservoirs. Ooh.
Delicious.
That one looked a little dirtier over here. I don't know if I've already mixed it with brackish on accident, though.
I don't know.
Yeah, shop vac, another day. It's daylight savings, so we're already losing our daylight here.
Everyone in the comments, right? What do you think about daylight savings.
Okay, the shop vac has arrived and has proven quite handy. We were able to suck all the coolant out of this engine, which is looking real naked now. But we ended up getting those off. There was this pesky little bolt back behind the front of this heat exchanger that was holding the whole thing on. And then, believe it or not, loosen them up, and all of those exhaust manifold brackets are actually slotted, and you can slide it straight up and off of the bolts that hold it on. So there you go. We got it all off. We'll vacuum and clean it up. We'll throw this one on time lapse over in the corner so you guys can see these pop off. But we'll start by sucking the coolant out of the reservoir, cracking those hoses off the front, just like over here, and then get these over back to the shop. So far, everything's looking pretty fresh on the intake ports. I don't see anything glaring.
No, looks like a loved
Diesel.
old diesel.
And quite simple. Okay, all the room for activities now. This looks like an... It's got little portals on the side of the engine block where you can open those up and access the push rods and connecting rods, which is crazy. This is such a tiny engine to have big access ports like that, but pretty neat. All bearing. Everything looks nice and clean. You can even peek and see a valve stem sitting in there. But we got the intakes off. We're gonna take them back to the shop, get all new gaskets, fix this gasket leak. But everything looks real clean. There's our little boot that goes over to the aftercooler. Same thing with this side. Got everything off and clean. Got to order my expensive Volvo gaskets now. And then some more coolant. New boost gasket over here too. But yeah, I'd say we're looking pretty good. A couple notes. One, terrible design. I mean, you'd have to remove that to pull your starter out. And I mean, it gives us good access to our oil filter there, which we'll get that changed out before we put them back on. Same thing over here. Actually do a full service before this all goes back together while it's easy and accessible. That is winning. Okay, let's take these bad boys to the shop. Got them in the shop. Now it's time. It's much easier to work on them here. But first off, hang on. This one's already flipped over. And we should have documented which side is which. Does it matter? Not really. It doesn't really matter.
It don't matter. This ain't gonna make the final cut.
It don't matter. These are all aluminum. Anyway, just check this out. See? That is all air that runs through there. That's our air intake. The little, add a length, because that's what you do on these modular Volvos. There's our dirty air that comes in out of the turbo. And our clean air on the back side. And I mean, it all should be clean, but for some reason it's all gooky and sooty over here, just probably from an oil seal going bad after some time. But the water, raw water, runs through these passages. Now we we'll pull off one of the ends here and pull our whole heat exchanger out both sides, which we already peeked through a hole. Was it this hole?
There's this one back here.
This hole? She's a little gooky. Can you see? Can you guys see? Yeah, there's some goop in there. So we'll see all what comes out. We're probably gonna soak these in the acid.
Yeah, there's some holes that are plugged up.
Yeah, we got some plugged holes. Oh yeah.
Don't we all?
So we'll pop the covers off, check the anodes, replace the anodes, clean these up, and see what the heat exchangers look like. Ew. All right, you guys are gonna roast me for having some dirty old heat exchangers. But, I mean, listen, I'm telling you, I just removed some OEM paint off of those nuts. I have a feeling these things haven't been pulled in a long time and have probably just been treated on the boat. What is this? This is like a nut? Ooh.
Anode maybe?
And something that formed the shape of a hole. There's some gritty stuff. Anodes are gone. That one's not terrible. This one's got... Oh, that's part of the anode. Actually, most of that's anode, but it looks like... What are these? Are these part of water pump impeller? Old water pump impeller parts. Interesting. And then we got barnacles and growth and just nasty things. Ooh, look. Yep, more water pump impeller. Sweet. Let's pull these things out. Ugh, we just pulled the other side off too. Look, we got old impeller. This thing, I think things are still living. No wonder she was having cooling issues. Well, not good things have been discovered. Nothing detrimental, but just the clear reason why we've been having so many problems with temperature and whatnot. Look at that. That is a gnarly heat exchanger, and check out the amount of impeller that's in that bad boy. That thing is cooked full. Yeah. Whoa. Not ideal, but glad we're doing this. We'll get all new seals. We're gonna take these to another shop where we have a hose, flush all this stuff out, take a reamer down each one of these, and then actually re-gasket, seal, and cap off the ends, and run some, I forget what they call the acid. What's the acid called?
Muriatic acid.
Muriatic?
Yeah.
Yeah, muriatic acid through these things. Really clean them up on the inside and should be much better afterwards. And it is very smelly in here. I unthreaded this anode by hand. With all the layers too. Ooh. Look at this. Oh my goodness. Whoops! Not mine. I replaced my impellers. I didn't do that. Before we get too far into this, I just want to show you guys. I got, let's see, brand new anodes for both sides. So we got our end caps here with our little anode that sticks right there. A new plug, because one of them was bad. The rest of them perfectly fine. So those all get new anodes, new Tef tape. Put there. We got all new 5.5-inch O-rings for all of our couplers and fittings here. So new O-rings for everything. Got those bad boys. Over here, 1/8 inch thick, 5.5, or just shy of it ID. And then whatever, plus 1/8 of an inch. OD, like 3/4 inches on the outside. So new gaskets, get this thing all back together. I got new intermediate O-rings for here as well. This is our intake manifold and aftercooler. Once we're done with that, we'll go grab one of our heat exchangers. They're all heat exchangers, but just for this intensive purpose, this is what cools the engine down, or the coolant in the engine. I got our cap plates here. Those will get new anodes, new O-rings for these bad boys. Have all been power washed out and reamed. And what am I missing? Oh yeah, brand new. There's those little O-rings that'll go on the intermediate connector pipe. But then I got brand new Volvo. These weren't cheap. Volvo gaskets. So this is for our turbo. So from our turbo charge pipe into our intake manifold. So that gasket goes right there. And then we've got our intake manifold gaskets. 2 of them for both engines. And those go right there. Boom, boom. And I think we had, well, we had multiple issues. We had a leak on the starboard engine from one of those gaskets. We also have a bad turbo, and I'll flash to that once we're done with rebuilding these heat exchangers. We got a bad turbo, a lot of shaft play, and the prop shaft between the turbine and the compressor blades. So total turbo rebuild. We'll flash to that after this rebuild's done. All right, we got a couple reassembled units, and guess what? This bolt that was impossible to get to on the boat is actually came in quite handy when reattaching these 2 units. So look, everything is really thought out here. All of the intake manifold bolts actually bolt through the heat exchanger coolant housing on this side. So everything lines up, and then if you tighten this bolt here, it basically sucks the 2 pieces together on our 2 new gaskets and brass flange there in the middle. So pretty neat. This one's ready to drop back on the boat. Look, you can even see you can thread 4 of your intake manifold bolts in and then set this down onto those bolts and rest it there, and then get the rest of your bolts attached. Nice engineering went into this. New anodes, new gaskets, everything's lubed up, ready to go. My other one, I have a broken off stud in the end of this heat exchanger gasket. So I'm gonna go get that stud out, get a couple new bolts for its end cap, and that one will be good to go too. These can go back on the boat, new gaskets, and we'll go ahead and go to our turbo rebuild, and then from there, we'll get these back on the boat and then get that turbo reinstalled on the boat as well. So all good maintenance to get this thing ready to go and make sure it's ready to be sold and in tip-top mechanical condition. Okay, $900 later, we have turbo rebuild kit, bearings, seals, snap rings, new hardware, you name it, bunch of O-rings, and then all the gaskets for this bad boy. But as I started putting it back together, one, the shaft already feels 10 times better with the new bearings in it, which is great. But this piece here, not to mention we need a new compressor wheel, like I said, but this thing is wallered out from that shaft playing around. Don't go messing around. There's my compressor down there. See it? Oop. So anyway, gonna be getting a new one of those. Not ideal. These Volvos are expensive, but that definitely needs to be replaced. I mean, that's a key source of our oil leaking out of our shaft here. So Gotta get a new one, so waiting for some more parts now. Okay, we're back on the pursuit, and we finally have all the parts we need to reassemble these heat exchangers, aftercoolers, and brand new turbocharger. Yeah, unfortunately, we had to ditch the old turbo because clearances between the exhaust turbine housing and the turbine blades were too high, and that was also attributing to our boost issues. So I bought a brand new one. It's in the box. I'll show it to you guys in a second. It looks beautiful, but the port engine's gonna have a brand new turbo. But in the meantime, we're gonna start by getting the new, you guys already saw these all cleaned up in the garage, the new heat exchanger aftercooler back into these big open holes. And before we do that, I actually bought new oil filters for this really hard to reach side engine oil filter. So those are in the box back here with Harry. Oh, here we go. They're right here. So we'll get those swapped out real quick before we put the really inconvenient heat exchangers over the top of them. So start with that one, and then obviously over here is the motor that needs the new turbo. So once we have the coolers back on, we'll put the turbo on, and this will be buttoned up and pretty much be ready to sell. So we'll start with this Starboard size. Oh, here are my new gaskets, by the way. All this stuff, I bought all of the original Volvo parts for this job. Sea and Ski Marine out in California was able to send me all this stuff. And let me tell you, the parts are available, but the Volvo parts are very expensive, as many of you guys know. So that's the only unfortunate part about Volvos, is their parts are expensive. See, that's like a job that would have taken so many cuss words and like an hour to do each of them. If you were to have to like get over and around those heat exchangers, it was so much easier to do. Right, without anything in the way. Same with water pump impellers. We just got those taken care of. So that's nice. But anyway, now take a look at this. So this is our intake manifold. Right here, obviously gaskets right here, but it very conveniently has these cutouts in it, 2 there and then 2 on the far side. So I actually can pre-thread, let's see, the first 2, 1, 2, and then the middle and the outer into our engine here. We're gonna pre-thread the bolts there, so when we set this in here, we're not struggling and having to hold up that big heavy metal piece while we get it situated. We have to do this in 2 parts. So first, the aftercooler, so we'll get that situated, and then the intercooler, or the heat exchanger, then mounts in the front, and we kind of got to slide that in, angle it, get it coupled up, and then there's a bolt that draws the 2 pieces together before we bolt everything to the side of the engine block. So
here, I'm real good at sliding in.
Well, I got to get those nuts first, or bolts first, is what I was explaining to him. Alright, we accidentally grabbed the heat exchanger that has the other brass plug in it that connects the 2. Doesn't matter actually, I mean you can pull these out, there's an O-ring on each side, but we just happened to grab the one that we split incorrectly. So anyway, Carrie's going to grab that, but I just thought I'd show you guys. We got it buttoned up. It was a little tricky making sure not to crush that metal gasket and just destroy a good part. But we got all these lower bolts that are inaccessible once the heat exchanger goes on. And I will tell you, so this is a stud right here with this threaded nut that used to support the old intake. There is a big bolt. Oh, I'm trying to bend over the engine and show you guys at the same time. There is a big bolt right down here. Can you see it? Without my sweatshirt in the way. Here you go. Right there. You gotta get that in to support the bottom and suck this piece in. And then the two bolts I was talking about earlier that actually go down below here, so you can rest this on them. You can't tighten them once you put this on here. So literally, just get them as close as you can, and then the rest of these will clamp this on. This is an air seal, so this is where our boost is going through the aftercooler, cooled by water, and then into our intake. So this will be under, you know, 15, 20, 25 PSI of boost. This gasket's got to be sealed. So just some reference for you. And this is the most painful one to do because you literally have to straddle the engine to do it. This one over here will be a lot easier because we can support and maneuver with this within this lane here that I have. They don't make it easy, that's for sure. Oh man, we got the new gasket in and bolted up for the turbo. We'll call this the charge pipe. It's a very short charge pipe, but it is a charge pipe.
It's not about how big your charge pipe is, but how you use it.
That's right. Nice little loop on it and all that. Got our V-band, our clamp bolted back up. But anyway, this one is set now. Boy, that was a pain in the butt. I was actually able to get in here with an open-ended wrench and tighten those lower two. Pain in the butt. It will be much easier on this side yet again, but these are the two I'm talking about. This guy here and this guy here. On this engine, I'm definitely going to thread them in more, so I don't have to do as many 1/8 inch rotations with the open-ended wrench. But you can see here, our gasket prior started leaking. So they are important because it seals this corner edge. And, I mean, looks like at some point this gasket did blow out. But anyway, the new metal gaskets will help with that. Now we will use the heat exchanger, Mr. Berg.
Yes. Fitting? No fitting.
No fitting.
No fitting.
One side is done. Whew. That was tough. But thankfully the hard part is over. Just have to fill this back up with coolant. Just from the top right here. Our little reservoir. I think it probably is going to take a gallon or two to fill everything back up. But in the meantime, let's move to this side. We got a new turbo. Look at this thing. It's so shiny. Wow. See, look. That one was replaced. Probably, I think based on the last survey I saw, like 10 years ago. But at least it's not the same age as the motor. And then look, now this one's gonna be replaced. Brand spanking new. Look at that. Sexy. Hang on, come here. Let's get you guys a better shot. Look at that sexy compressor wheel. Woo! Yeah. Straight from overseas. So, just like everything here. But yeah, brand new. I won't paint it, so whoever buys this knows that it's brand new. But very nice unit here. But I'm currently sitting on top of the engine, very delicately trying to get the exhaust gasket in place. I almost dropped it a second ago. That wasn't good. And Harry's been my emotional support man today. He's been very helpful. A lot of things to hold and move at the same time.
That could be taken a bunch of ways.
Stay over there. This thing is very heavy. Let's see. Here we go. Turbo, which really should have studs, but it doesn't. Gasket. Don't drop the gasket into the bilge because it costs a lot of money and it takes a while to get new parts. There we go. Alright, now. Oh. See, every movement just wants to send this gasket down into the bilge.
If he does this in one take, no cuts, then you know.
Yeah.
That it's the same gasket.
Oh, that is the spot right there. Stay, baby. Nobody move! I need to mount it up against the exhaust manifold so it can support itself. Oh, but if I push it too far in, it drops the studs out of it, which I just did. So I'm gonna have to restart. Ugh. Yes, I could be using like a gasket sealer, but ain't nobody got time for that right now.
It's a high temp application.
It's in the 40s currently.
Oh yeah.
Alright, we're just gonna get one threaded and started. Oh yes. For he's a jolly good fellow. For he's a jolly good fellow. For he's a jolly good fellow.
Nobody could deny.
Hopefully that song's not copyrighted.
Or has like some deeply racist undertones.
Does it?
I don't think it does. If it does, then we all just need to chill out a bit.
Yeah, I would agree. Alright, I got him started. I need a wrench now.
13 or 14?
Probably 14.
There's my snap-on toolkit here. I lose open ends every 20 minutes. So why would I buy a good one? Present for you.
Gracias. Now here's the next question. Is do I thread the coolant return? Oh, they're 15.
Oh.
15. I'm already talking myself into this answer, but I think I have to thread the coolant return lines in the base of the turbo before I go too crazy here with threading these studs into the exhaust manifold mount up.
Let her all self-align.
Yeah. No point in fighting all those hoses and stuff to get them back to the right positions.
No, I'm pretty used to fighting hose.
I know, me too.
Left and right.
Alright, let's get this bottom one threaded in a little bit. The tool sponsors watching this, we'd love a set of ratcheting open-ended wrenches. Metric and standard, of course.
Oh, and Ben, where's that spray nine?
I really do need to email Spray 9.
I would love to be sponsored by Spray 9. I'll drink their products as for promotion.
Alright, that's enough threads in for now. I'm gonna go for the coolant on the underside. I had to do some crazy stuff. Those, remember, Harry, those are the bolts that you gave up on?
Oh, yeah.
Then you had to go to the airport?
I did.
And I don't remember what I did to get them off. So, this will be fun.
Anyway, and we'll cut to that next. Checking in.
I need one of those new black rubber seals, please.
Like one of these.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, they fit around the lip.
Yep. I'm tackling that coolant.
Oh yeah.
Coolant feed, folks. So it's just like the bottom of this, and it goes up underneath the turbo. So on your, over here, on your turbine housing, this is actually water fed or coolant fed. If it was seawater fed, it'd be really bad. It would corrode inside. But it's coolant fed, so we got yellow coolant going through here, comes in through the top, and then drains out through the bottom and returns back to the engine block. So anyway, all these gaskets in my new kit get replaced, but this is the hard one to get to. So we got to get that gasket fixed, and then replace those two little bolts, which Harry can probably locate for me in the meantime.
I'm gonna say it's these right here. Judging by how angry that one made me. Put that one on top.
Okay, I got the hard ones done. We got our oil drain right there. See that? Right there. Got that hooked up. I got to tighten it. And then the worst one was the coolant right there. Coolant return line. That I just got that tightened. So we get these two done, and then everything from there is on the top side. So we got our coolant feed, we got our oil feed, and then our exhaust clamp to hook up, and then we'll put our charge pipe on. I think the last thing other than that, I moved this bracket out of the way, I think, to get to my bolts for the coolant return. So now I can put this bracket back, get it secured down. Gotta get my
Spoilers.
exhaust pipe attached. Alright, I gotta make this wider. Make my V-band wider. Do you remember the Bandersnatch? Bandersnatch.
Isn't that like an evil animal from like that thing?
Alice in Wonderland. The Bandersnatch.
I hated that book so much growing up. I usually like those weird Victorian kid books. I could never get into Alice in Wonderland. I didn't like the movies.
And then you had, wait for it, Terry. The Jabberwocky.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
I tell you what, it is toasty down here. Oh, got the extreme heater running. Oh yeah. It is like, it's in the 50s down here. 30 something outside. That extreme heater is awesome. Safe for marine bilges. Everything's winterized except for the motors. So hence why we got the heater. That way we can run the boat whenever we want to in the winter. Isn't that convenient? Okay, here's that fancy new turbo. I need the two 10 mils there. And then I got 2 studs to put in on my turbo. And a hose clamp for this guy. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah, a hose clamp for that air intake down there. So, real quick, I'm gonna do that. You guys don't need to see this, but this will finish this off. And we'll be set. I'm not gonna fire it up though, because I don't have coolant yet. Well, like any job, it's already become more invasive than I intended. These studs will not fit through this opening down here between the exhaust manifold and where the nuts go. So I actually have to remove the whole turbo from the exhaust outlet here, which requires removing this hose clamp, or removing this V-band clamp for the exhaust exit, removing this coolant hose that I just put on, loosening up, you know, the pipe that goes from here to our charge pipe. Yeah, and I think I can leave everything else on. So what I'm going to do is kick this turbo aft, and I'll be able to thread these studs in. Wish I would have had them here when I did this the first time, but you know how these things go. Status update. For one thing, it's beautiful out right now. Absolutely gorgeous. I mean, you can't beat this. Second thing, it's been an hour. As you can see, it's getting dark. My dumb A was trying to be fast, like I said, dropped the exhaust manifold to turbo gasket into my bilge, under my engine. Can't get it out. So I had to drive all the way back to the shop, and thank God had a spare, because I had 2 kits. So that's where we're at. I just got the spare actually in place and on, so it's not going anywhere. And I got my studs in, so I had to walk back to the truck, grab a quick pair of pliers, and now we go back down to the boat to finish this up. I mean, I'm sure everyone watching has heard it before, but whatever you do, I guess 2 pieces of advice here. If you want to listen to me, you don't have to. 1, when installing nuts and bolts, never have more than the one you're installing in your hand, because you always drop the other one. Common sense. 2, never rush. When you rush, you make the job last twice as long, and you lose things, you break things, you end up redoing whatever you did, or whatever you set out to do. So, anyway, back down to my little cubby hole. Look at this. It's so nice and quaint. It's warm down here. Oh, hey. Got my isinglass kind of protecting me, playing music, having a little party in the engine bay. Yeah, there you go. Got the exhaust gasket in. I'm gonna miss her. Tammy. Just kidding, it's TAMD. Gonna miss the pursuit though. It was a good boat. Maybe in another lifetime we'll come back to one of these express style sport fisher, cruiser, whatever. But for now, it's time to go fast. Okay, here we go. Let me do one of these and finish this up. It is finito. We got everything hooked up, V-band back on. It's dark, a couple 10 mils, other 10 mils, and most importantly, our exhaust flange to our turbine is tight. So that's all we're gonna call it at that today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. This 2000 Pursuit 3400 that you guys know and love is maintenanced. Oil, filters, impeller, fresh heat exchangers, gaskets, anodes, brand new turbo. She's ready to go for whoever buys this boat. So huge thing to check off the list. And now let's put her away for the night. As always, I'm gonna stand down here in the light so you guys can see me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for following along, and we will catch you next time. See ya!